So in today's video, we're going to be looking at production workflow tips. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips that will help you speed up your workflow when working with Inside the DAW. I think both of these tips can be done inside of Ableton as well, but we're going to be looking at them inside of Bitwig. You can see here I have a project that has quite a lot going on in it. This was a project done for Native Instruments massive preset pack. This was the demo I created for that pack, and as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different parts. As you can see, the numbering and organization of these ideas is also really weird, but they have been put into groups at least. So if you open up each group, you'll see each idea within the group. But as we start opening multiple ideas up, it starts to get a bit confusing and we start to get a bit lost. And when we want to kind of work these things all together, it gets really crowded, the screen, and there's too much going on. So a way around this, and this is the first tip for today, is to go up the top of your screen here. What we can do here is click here and you'll get this drop down menu. In this drop down menu, you can select what you want to focus on. So if I just wanted to focus on the first demo idea, I could select this. So now we can see absolutely everything that's going on just inside this group and nothing else. So if you're working on just one track, you could just focus on your bass group, you could focus on your drum group, because when working on tracks, you might find you have loads of channels as well, and it gets, once again, really crowded, difficult to focus on what you want to focus on. So this is tip number one that I wanted to share with you, using this section up here to organize your screen. So you can flick between the different groups that you have, and then you can just focus on just that group. Your screen's less crowded. All you have is the bits that you need within that group, and boom, much easier to focus on. So, and then when you want to come back to the project, you can go back to the project, and then that opens absolutely everything up for you. So that's tip number one, to help your workflow and make things a bit quicker. And for tip number two, what we're going to do is we're going to go into one of these ideas. So let's go into idea one. Let's say there's a couple of sounds or a section that we really like, but we don't think it fits in this tune, or we have a tune that we can't really get working, but there's bits that we really like. Let's start organizing these so that we can use them and focus on just these bits that we like. And a way of doing that, which is really cool, and I love to do this a lot, is to kind of group up a section of sounds. So say I like this pad sound down here, and I like this here. I could then go and group this here, play this. And we end up with something like that. You could say like, oh, maybe I like this effect here. And you'll notice down the bottom we've got a few little plugins on here as well, nothing too crazy, just really simple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to name this group. We want to open up our search bar over here, because we're going to go into a folder. So hopefully you guys have already got some organized folders where you keep all your samples, etc. One that I have inside here is called Ideas. And what this is clips, or this is scenes, as this is going to be called. And inside here I have bass, I have drops, I have drum loops and breaks, I have my intros, I have musical ideas, and this test is just what we're going to be using as the folder for today. So let's go into test, and let's click on here, and let's drag this now into here. And we called it Video Idea 2026, so we can do the same here. Video Idea 2026. We can tag it as well, so we can call it a loop. Example, you can give it more tags if you want to as well. So you could call it like Atmos, Dry, etc. Give it loads of tags that you feel appropriate for it. Make sure that your device is selected, and here it should automatically be selected anyway, this section here. This is your folders and files within the project or within the clip or scene that you're saving, and this is the plugins, the devices. So we now hit OK, and what we're going to do now is we're going to come out of here. So let's go back to the project, and in here you can see we've saved our edit. We can audition it, so we can play it here as well. So you can hear what we say. If you like that idea, you can then drag that over here. Here it is, and we can open this up, and inside you'll see all the sounds. The colours have disappeared, but that's nothing major because you could just quite easily just recolor it like this. There we go, done, easy peasy. And what we're also noticing here is the plugins are also here. The plugins that were on it originally are here, and all the folders and files that we use within this scene are also here. So we now have complete access to all the files and plugins that created this idea in the first place. So having access to all this is super useful because it makes any kind of editing that you need to do to the file possible. Whereas if you bounced it down to just one audio file, which many people do with their samples, you then are stuck with that audio file and you have only the option of chopping it and changing what you have at your disposal. Unlike this, you have all the elements that make up that audio file. So when you're thinking of just bouncing an idea later on that you come up with, don't just bounce it, make a scene as well. And this will allow you to have full control of that sound in the future if ever you choose to use it within an idea. So I really recommend doing this. And like I said, you can split it into like bass ideas, drop ideas, drum loops, and you'll end up with a massive collection of these things that you can then use. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope these 2 tips were really useful for you, and I hope you learned something. And I'm going to play this demo idea out for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.